Hello, my name is Arthur, and in the last video we made this tank up, and in this video we're going to export it into Godot. This time, instead of using a Godot file, I'm going to go with a GLTF file. So we'll look at how to do that. Yeah, it's not really that difficult. What we'll do is we'll split our work window up here, and we'll turn one window into the non-linear animation editor. This is going to show us our animations in a different way. What we have is all of the objects that have an animation, basically. If this was a rigged character, it would look different. It would have actions from the rigging, so it would only have one track and look a bit different. But as this sits, if we were to just export this as a GLTF and import it into Godot, what would happen is we would get animations with each of these names, and our entire wheel animation would be separated into an animation for each wheel, which is not very functional. That's not what we would want. So what we do here to make this work and to get our animations properly is we have to turn these into, we have to push them down into NLA strips. So this one we're going to skip because it's actually problematic. Not only, like, it's the only animation that would kind of come through correctly as one single animation because it only involves one object. But what would happen is the length of time leading up to that animation would also end up as part of the animation, so we'd have to edit it because it's not really the way it's meant to be as an NLA. So what we'll do is we'll push down all of the ones for the wheels, and we'll start off with the wheels and how to get those to act like one animation rather than 8 animations, or 7. Is that 7 or 8? Oh, 7 animations. So we'll push them down. They'll all have the name NLA track. So we're going to take that and we're going to change the name to drive. So I'll just copy and paste this. So I'll Control C, and maybe worth noting, we can't just right click on it. Nothing's going to happen. We're not going to get the option to paste that way. We have to use hotkeys. So Control V to paste that into all of the tracks. Now the export import will treat this like one animation, and all of these tracks will end up in one animation. Now for this one, we have to correct the time, and it's really just a matter of how we're looking at it. Now when I build animations, I tend to space them out and separate them. With the Collada, I can say, oh, this animation spans this number of frames and the next animation spans this number of frames. But this way, we just, with the GLTF, we just want to make the NLA strips correctly so that they work. So all I'll do is I'll move this animation down. Now it's going to function correctly. It will be the right length. And about the only other thing with this is that maybe the timing on this animation is not what I should go with, and I should probably learn my lesson from previous animations and move that over so that there's only one frame to the drawbacks for the actual recoil. And then for the muzzle to return, I'll shorten that time up. And hopefully that timing will be good and work appropriately. So with that done, I'll just push this action down. So push down the action, and I'll call this recoil. So now these are ready to export. For settings on the export of a GLTF, well, I've not experimented with many of the settings, and as they are by default, this is going to work. So I don't really need to experiment with them. So what I would do here is, because I've already done the export, I'm going to just create a new folder. And just change the name of this somehow. Doesn't really matter how, it's just a temporary file. So I'll export that and we'll have a look at what we got. So I've already imported the tank. So this is the one I'm going to work with. And in the import settings, I've played around with those because it seems that when I use a GLTF, no matter what I do, I get this error. So it gives me a warning. It says something about changing this import settings. Well, I try changing those settings and doing what the instruction says, but the warning persists. So I don't really know what to do with that warning at this time. Maybe we could come up with something to look at that. So let's just go down and look at the import as it came in. So we got all of our materials and the file is right here. So let's just open the file and see what we got. So we have everything is sitting here the way it should be. We have an animation player. It's still throwing that same warning. But we have drive and we have recoil, and all of the wheel tracks are in the appropriate animation rather than an animation for each of these tracks. So in that way everything worked out. Now for clearing the warning, about the only thing I could think is maybe if I made a duplicate of these animations, and I've not tried this yet, but maybe if I dealt with duplicates of those animations, things would work out differently. So let's see if that animation persists. So what I would have to do is remove the one that is causing the warning. So I would remove that. I would be left with copy. And then I would remove recoil. And okay. And then perhaps that warning would clear, or perhaps not. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with that warning, and honestly, it's a little bit annoying that having a warning with seemingly no way to clear it. Generally, I like to keep a project without having any warnings, and this one that you get left powerless to do anything about is, yeah, it's a little bit annoying. So what I'd actually tried is I followed the instructions on this warning and re-imported it. So I changed it so that it saves the animation. The two animations are saved right here. And I put checkmark custom tracks. That's what it says to do. Set storage to files, enable keep custom tracks, and re-import. So yeah, so I follow the instructions, but the warning persists. So that's one that I don't really know what to say about it. I consider this to be a problem in Godot, and a warning that for some reason just doesn't want to be cleared. And I don't know what would happen. I could try I could try saving this. This has already been saved as a scene. So I could save that. I can close that. And this new folder, this is just garbage. It was just to demonstrate the export and import, which we've done. Okay, it wants to give me the gears about that, so I'm not sure why it can't remove that. We'll just forcibly remove it. Let's see. That project is actually right here. And new folder is right there. So I'm going to shut down Godot. I'm going to try to shut down Godot. I'm going to get rid of that folder, delete it, and reopen Godot. I'll reopen the tank scene, look at the animation player, and yeah, it's still going to give me that warning. So that warning is persistent, and I guess that's just part and parcel with choosing to use a GLTF. And if I ever discover a way to get rid of that warning, or if I'm doing something wrong, then I'll most certainly put it into a video that when I deal with GLTF next time. So in the next video, I'll look at what to do next with this, and if I want it to remain as a spatial, or if I'm going to go rigid body or kinematic body for this vehicle, and decide on some of those things, or experiment with some of those things. And I hope this was somewhat helpful. Until the next video, take care.